Right now, perfect timing. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing today? We're recording this at least live. There's a good chance you're watching on the replay. We're doing it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live then. There we go. We dropped the swear word in the first minute. YouTube's gonna absolutely be pissed. But we're doing a live best ball draft. It starts in 30 seconds. Your boy right now just can't seem to draw a middle of the round, which I don't really want a middle of the round when it's time to actually go. And I say actually go, I put $25 into this, so it is time to actually go. But when you're talking about like your fantasy leagues, your home leagues, I do want to be anchored on either the beginning or the end. But I got the 10th overall pick. We'll zoom in on this. And yeah, we're going to be best ball drafting live on a Saturday, depending on where you're tuning in from. I mean, it should be the morning everywhere. But we're drafting 10th. I feel pretty good now. We're honed in. The rankings are all updated up until yesterday. I updated everything for a top 200 for tiers. That's all updated for PPR, non-PPR, standard, all that type of stuff. So I feel very tuned in. We've been drafting with rankings, but they're more polished, I would say now, especially for your draft priority. So the draft just starts here. And yeah, the top 200 right now is very running back heavy, especially because that's just what you're going to see and really what you need, because it drops off pretty quickly to maybe not the most sketchy of running backs, but not the greatest. So yeah, if you're watching live right now on Twitch, on YouTube, of course I missed this, says Zay. I put it in the Discord. It was in there. We put it in like 20 minutes ago or so. We were waiting. He says, of course I missed this. Yeah, my man. But yeah, we tried to do this yesterday, and I realized, like, yeah, it ain't just going to work. It's way too early that I tried to do this. We're at an inconvenient time. But how y'all doing? We're drafted on Best Ball. There's $1,000,001 on Best Ball, Underdog, the best platform to be doing drafts. $1,000,001 to first place. I'm drafting off of my tiers on my left side. You can't see them, but they are available on Big Energy Sports for pre-order, and that will be releasing the draft guide next week, which there's another big version of me. But the draft guide releases next week. We can kind of look at some player profiles, things in that nature. But you're going to see running backs going early. We've kind of talked about Alvin Kamara. We've made a specific video on him. He's my running back 9 right now. I'm not really there on Alvin Kamara. I've got guys like Cam Akers, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones ahead of him. He goes 4th overall to overrated. I don't know if we're streaming right now to Twitter, but I will add that. Kelsey goes mad early, as he normally does in these types of formats. So if you're watching best ball formats, a tight end is going to go early. That's just how it goes, because there's not many of them. If you don't get Kelsey, Darren Waller, and maybe George Kittle, you're basically drawing dead at tight end. You might as well wait a really long time. Like Kyle Pitts, there's an upside there, but nowhere near as secure, of course. So running backs can continue to go. I think Salt Shaker gets a value in Zeke right there. Saquon is now gone. I'm picking at the 10. Cam Akers is my best available, and then Aaron Jones after that. I'm really hoping Akers doesn't go here, but he normally goes in this range. Tyreek goes there, so this makes it an easy pick for me to go to Cam Akers, the best available on Underdog's board, the best available on my board, my number 6 overall. So here we go. Cam Akers we get there, and we're going to have a quick turnaround here. So I think I'm going to go double running backs early. It is interesting because where I'm drafting, I don't think Waller is going to be available at my 3rd pick, and I do kind of want Darren Waller, but this seems a little bit early to be taking him at like the 2-3, although as the season gets closer, not shocked to see him start going there. Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon still available right now. Joe Mixon has dropped for me a little bit. He's my running back 11. Dropped a little bit, but nothing crazy. There goes Aaron Jones. We pick again in 2 picks, and we're looking for running backs. Plenty left. Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Nick Chubb all look appealing. But Davonte Adams here to 2-3, right if Roger stays. Good math, guys, in the chat right now. There goes Joe Mixon. Good math, guys, up in this chat. It's been a while, Sal. Gave up on DFS cold turkey to prove to my wife that I could. Year-long leagues don't count in my eyes. You selling another draft kit? If so, where can I scoop it up? Yeah, good math, guys. What's going on, boss man? I'm on the clock right now, but I will get back to you momentarily. Nick Chubb is still on the board. Najee Harris is still on the board. So is one Davonte Adams. I'm going to go running back here. It's between Nick Chubb and Najee Harris for me. I think that Najee Harris probably sees a greater workload. Nick Chubb obviously in a much better situation, potentially the best offensive line out there in scheme. You saw that last year. He got hurt, and he still produced extraordinary numbers, even from an overall total standpoint, not counting per game. So we start with Nick Chubb and Cam Akers. I feel really good about that. Young players, upside to them. Passing game usage in question, but Cam Akers showed that in college. But good math, guys. Yeah, so this is for good math, guys. How you doing today? Happy Saturday. And anybody else watching, there is a draft guide. It is available for pre-order in the description down below. You can either get that on the website, or if you sign up through our partners Prize Picks, you will get it for half off, similar to how we did that last year. But it's linked down below. There's going to be a landing page, a video that tells you everything you get. It's not yet released, but if you do sign up for that, you will get the notification in the email of when it is released. And it will release next Friday is the launch date. The aiming launch date is by the end of June, but we're trying to get it out as soon as possible. It's already in the back end. It's just a matter of getting the logistics in order for like a launch date. But yeah, The 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide is available down below and ways to get it for a cheaper price. So Davonte Adams goes into 2.8, obviously because of the Aaron Rodgers holdout right now. People are getting concerned about that, and there's going to start to be some reasons too. So here goes Darren Waller, as you can see above me. Darren Waller goes into 2.6. That's about where you're going to start to see him go. So like if I want to take him out to 2.3, I could have. Not super early, but a spot where I didn't feel as comfortable. So running backs continue to just fly off the board. We're into my tier 3 now on running backs. Awesome, man. Smashed my leagues last year using it, says good math guys. Man, that's awesome. I mean, that's the goal of it, right? Kittle goes. So now there's really no point to take a tight end. Kittle goes into 2.11. The top 3 are gone. Yeah, I'm happy that it ended up helping you last year. Well, I'm still going to watch and learn for the next one, says Zay. Get up in here, my man. Yeah, so obviously we're in beginning/middle of June, so football's not on the forefront. NHL and NBA playoffs going on, but we still like to start early, right? We still like to start the stuff up early. We started doing the football content in June, and then, I mean, look, the preseason is literally weeks away now at this point, less than 2 months away, so we can, I think, start to classify it as weeks away, which is going to be exciting, not only from a preseason DFS standpoint, which good math guys isn't going to be able to participate in, but also just actually relevant news and information coming out of those OTAs, whether it's injuries or usage. We can actually break that down now for the season, which we didn't get to do last year. So lots to take there. AJ Brown goes, and AJ Brown's somebody who dropped massively for me. I get the upside in best ball drafts, but he's my wide receiver 12. I would have taken DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, McLaurin, Justin Jefferson, and Amari Cooper over him. Obviously, some of those are very, very close, but I'm surprised DK made it to Danny H. That's a really good spot for Danny H. DK making it to the basically end beginning of round 3. That's a strong spot for Danny H. All right, so we just pushed this through to Twitter. I don't know why it wasn't coming up on Twitter before that. So now we're good to go. Yeah, wide receivers are going now. This is a situation where you probably don't want to be going wide receiver. If you have been going wide receiver, does not seem like the best time to be snagging a wide receiver, in my opinion. When a bunch are flying, like overrated takes Keenan Allen after 5 wide receivers go. Like if RB takes a wide receiver here, he's clearly getting the worst of the bunch. He goes McLaurin, right? So McLaurin's not a bad pick, but you just know that you're getting like the worst value at that position. There's probably decent value, probably not a tight end, but running back like a DeAndre Swift, middle to end of the 3rd round. Chris Carson was on the board. So it's not the worst thing to do early on, right, when these runs go, because you are still taking quality players. But it's just an interesting strategy. When you see 6 wide receivers go in a row, you probably wanted one of those 6 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those 6. So then now a running back run goes, right? And this makes sense because we're now heading into my wide receiver 3 tier as the running back 3 tier is starting to get scooped up. So I'm on the clock right now. I've got currently two running backs. There's a couple left, but none of them that appealing. So I think wide receiver is the move here. Allen Robinson's there. He's my best available. CeeDee Lamb is there. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb here. Now, as a 3rd overall pick, Robinson is definitely the higher alpha of a player, but I want to try and build a Cowboys stack. So we'll go CeeDee Lamb there, which ensures that we have something from that Cowboys stack. Getting Dak in the 4th definitely seems early. It's going to be somewhat of a risk going to the 5th, but I'm not going to reach on Dak in the 4th just to complete a stack. I don't really advocate for that unless you're doing it later in drafts. Like if you're reaching in the 13th round instead of the 14th to secure, I don't know, insert Matt Ryan, Daniel Jones, right? Then you're okay to do that. But I take CeeDee Lamb over Allen Robinson there. It's close. They're neck and neck. Allen Robinson's my wide receiver 13, CeeDee Lamb my wide receiver 14. At this next pick now, it's going to be best available between running back and wide receiver for me. J.K. Dobbins, working on a video for him. Not really all that enticed by Dobbins as he goes off the board there. Dobbins is my running back 24. I'm not really all there on Dobbins. So looking at this right now, I do believe that this next pick I am going to go out there. Full screen quick. I'm 2 picks away. I've got right now Nick Chubb and Cam Akers like that, and CeeDee Lamb. So we like that. Young players, upside players, right? Running back is the next spot here, which if Mike Davis makes it to me, we're 1 pick away. I think I'll go Mike Davis here and secure 3 running backs with my first 4 picks and then really not have to take more than 1 for the rest of the draft. So funny guy hates stats, or fun guy hates stats. If he takes Mike Davis here, okay, he takes Josh Allen. So I think Mike Davis is the move. So Jamar Chase went. That's fine. A little bit early on him. Josh Allen goes. I think Mike Davis is now going to be my move. There's a David Montgomery on the board. David Montgomery actually ranks out 1 or 2 spots ahead of Mike Davis for me. But we're going to go Mike Davis here. So maybe that is something I'll have to adjust in my rank since I'm drafting off of these, obviously. But the reason I go Mike Davis over Montgomery last year was fantastic. The whole narrative around bad defenses that he ended up beasting on. But it was also the fact that there was a lack of a backfield competition. They bring in Damian Williams, who sure sat out a year, but was effective. 30-plus-year-old running back now. Or pushing that. Was effective still, right? But then you want to look at some other things and you see, okay, Tariq Cohen got hurt pretty early on. Oh, yeah, Tariq Cohen had a 78 receptions in 2019, over 100 targets. That might not duplicate, but it's going to take away from what you see out of Mike Davis's or David Montgomery's overall upside, whereas Mike Davis is competing with an undrafted free agent, Javion Hawkins, that weighs 180 pounds soaking wet, and then a bunch of nobody running backs, literally nobody running backs, like Tony Brooks or Jr., I don't even know what the hell his name is. So interesting thing to talk about is Josh Allen goes first. He's my quarterback 4, but I can see why you put him higher. Quarterback 2 is probably the highest I would go there, but he goes first before Mahomes. Maybe that was trying to complete a stack. So now these are the rounds 4, 5, 6 where you start to see just everything start to go. Some people take tight ends like a Kyle Pitts. Some people start to go with their quarterbacks and really start to secure some stacks. But anything here is usually fair game. Running backs you see die out here. This is the running back dead range. Best available running backs for me right now, David Montgomery, Myles Gaskin. Travis Etienne starts my running back tier 4. Chase Edmonds, Kareem Hunt. That's where I'm at on those. We're in a pretty big tier of talent for wide receivers, so you can just scoop up a bunch of wide receivers. That'll probably be my move. At my next pick, I believe if Dak is there, I'll probably take Dak with my 5th pick. He usually goes around that 5 or 6 pick. Let's see where his ADP is at right now. Dak Prescott ADP is around 58, so yeah, that's basically the end of the 5th round, so we have to hope to get him. That's the 410. So he goes with the 410. We're right around that range, or the 510. Yeah, the 510. So we're getting closer to that range as some more running backs go off the board. Josh Jacobs, not really somebody I'm looking to draft this year, but I can perceive value just at the 411. That seems early. That seems early at the 411. Tier 5 running back for me. So let's queue up Dak Prescott here, which is nice about Underdog. We're drafting on Underdog, by the way. If you're not familiar, if you don't know now, you know. There's a link down below. If you sign up, if you want to draft in this platform, try and win $1,000,001. And even if that's not your type of thing, to try and win $1,000,001, whatever it might be, there's other contests you can play. You can play in 3-man, 12-man leagues. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. Best ball. You draft and never have to set your lineups. It'll take, just like it says, best ball. It'll take the best positions for you each week. So you can just roster 18 players, any positions you want, many as you want. We like to go heavy on wide receivers because they're more variant and have higher ceilings, and secure running backs early like we've done so far in this one. In the link down below or the code SAL, as of right now, it's a limited time offer. I don't know when it's going to end. They just say that it's limited time. Any money you deposit, they'll give you $25 to play with. So there's your little spiel. There's your little spiel, your little plugger. Adam Thielen goes. I think I'm going to make a video. Right now, I have video topics queued up, these little 10-minute videos. I have a couple ready to go out next week. Hopefully, you're enjoying them. But what we're doing right now is basically these little 10-minute, not short videos, but they're basically breaking down 1 or 2 players as to why you should be drafting them, why you should not be drafting them, more specifics around if this happens, right? What are the things needed for this player to break out, those types of things. We have a couple, and Adam Thielen is probably somebody that's going to be a stay the fuck away for me. Massively using the red zone, of course, but that offense is going to run even more than they did last year. More than likely improved offensive line through the draft. Deontay Johnson goes. That is a very good pick. I like that Deontay Johnson pick a lot there at the 5.5. Look, my best available right now at the wide receiver position, Cooper Kupp's still out there. He's the best available on the board, and he goes. So that's a good pick by Jack All. So we're a couple picks away. My pick, where I pick at the 5.10, where I pick at the 5.10 right now is where Dak Prescott goes on average. He goes 58th overall on average. The 5.10, I believe the 5.10 would be 58th overall. Yeah, because the 5.12 would be 60 picks. So we've got a little bit of a sweat here if we can get Dak in the 5th. Brandon Ayuko. So wide receivers are on a pretty big run right here. We got 4 wide receivers in a row. The 2 guys before me do not have a quarterback, so that adds a little bit of a sweat. If either of them have Amari, that'll add an even bigger sweat for me personally. Let's see. Well, he's got Zeke, so he could try and stack with Zeke, which doesn't make too much sense. And he's got Amari. Damn. All right, we're not going to get Dak. The odds are we're not getting Dak here. So this fella right here has Amari Cooper and no quarterback and 4 receivers. I mean, he's going pretty clearly 0 RB. Matt Ryan goes, holy shit. Matt Ryan went fucking early. I mean, he wanted to get him with Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts, so there's a stack. So you can't see because I'm here right now, but let's take my face off. He went with the Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan stack, but talk about a reach on Matt Ryan. A good, I don't know, 3 rounds at the very, I mean, that's a 3-round reach at least. Lamar goes, let's fucking go. So we get Dak Prescott to fall to us. In a situation where I didn't think we would get it, right? The guy before me has has Dak Prescott. He probably thought maybe we can go around on the turn, but he ends up taking Lamar, which I get it. You don't have to stack in this, but that ends up my tier 1 quarterback. So if Dak would have went, I would not have taken a quarterback there. I wanted the 1 correlation. It's his proper ADP, so we're not reaching. And I have 5 tier 1 quarterbacks this year. He's one of them. Somebody who fell massively. He's my number 20 overall running back. By far my best available running back. He was in my tier 3. Myles Gaskin goes a pick after me. It's not really something I was looking at. If I would have taken another position earlier on, just having 3 running backs, I feel pretty secure. 3 running backs now, a receiver, and a quarterback feels great. We're picking in 3 more picks. So wide receiver likely here becomes the move. There's decent things left at running back. Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, right? Chase Edmonds to an extent. But wide receiver is the move here, as I have a decent amount of my tier 3 options. Chris Godwin he's not available, yeah. So Kenny Golladay, DJ Shark are still out there. Jerry Jeudy, these are guys that I do enjoy having. I wouldn't mind taking Golladay at the 6-3. I don't really like Golladay all that much this year. He's going to rely on volume in an offense that has a lot of guys that are going to rely on volume. So on paper, if he doesn't get you the 10-12 touchdown season, it looks hard for him to get there in any type of format, PPR or non-PPR. Obviously better in non-PPR, though, Kenny Golladay, though, as you're not expecting massive catch seasons, reception seasons out of him. So Golladay and Shark are my best available wide receivers. Tight end is not something I'm looking to take right now. TJ Hawkinson goes. It's just not even something I'm too concerned with. Galladay's here. DJ Shark, Jeudy, Sutton. I mean, all these other guys look very similar outside of Golladay. I'm going to take Golladay at the 6-3. It's the position I want. It's the position I need right now. It was a toss-up between him and Shark. I'll take more of a proven commodity. I mean, a lot of people are getting excited about Shark. I get it. He had a quality second year 2 years back. Last year with bad quarterback play, he wasn't great, but in his own right, he's not that efficient. Like, he's not a yards after the catch receiver. Neither is Golladay, but Golladay has an actual skill set that you look for, a jump ball receiver. DJ Shark is just sort of this, what is he right now, right? Is he a yards after the catch guy? We haven't really seen that. He played special teams in college, which is nice, but we haven't really seen that. Hey, Sal, you talk about mental health a lot. How are you holding up, man? Hope all is well, says Kyle Williams. Well, yesterday was like one of the worst days, just like in general, getting really frustrated with. So I did a podcast with my girlfriend. It was like great. We prepped it out. It was like all perfect situated, perfect timing. And then I accidentally deleted the file because I was like cleaning my laptop yesterday morning. And for whatever reason, that just like threw me off for the whole day. Because it's like, a couple hours of work. I really enjoyed the content that we put together. But that just threw me off. But those probably from the outside looking in just seem like small things to be complaining about. But that piling on to just other work stresses, trying to get these NFL videos out while also doing content still for the NBA. It is definitely the slow season for sports, but trying to remain on top of everything can get a little bit difficult. But holding up fine. I'm going to be doing a half marathon tomorrow, so I'm excited to finally do that. I've been training for that for years, and injuries or COVID last year has always halted it. But thanks, my man, Kyle. Hopefully you're holding up as well. What's your educated guess / outlook on Kyle Pitts with Julio gone? Yeah, Kyle Pitts looks fantastic for me. I just don't think I'm going to get much of him. I just don't think, he's being drafted probably at this point where he should be. I just don't expect to get much of Kyle Pitts at this point. I have Kyle Pitts as my tight end number 4 pretty clearly. He's closer to tight end 3 in George Kittle than tight end 5 in Hawkinson for me, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I have Kyle Pitts right now projecting out for stats-wise for close to over 900 yards, closer to 950 yards and 6 touchdowns, which is clearly fantastic for tight ends. I think that he could be fantastic. Yeah, it's not even really an educated guess. I mean, I guess it is to some extent because you're making assumptions in your projections, but it's actually what I have projected out for the fella. So I think he's going to be quality. I think he's going to be really good. I think people are underselling Russell Gage and his impact, although, yes, he's a lower ADOT player and might not target downfield as much. I do think people are underestimating how good of a receiver Russell Gage was when Julio was out 2 years ago for 4 games. Russell Gage was quality. And last year when Julio was out a couple of games or when he saw actual volume, like early on in the season, end of the year. Where do you rank Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson right now for me ranks out, if we're talking PPR format, as my wide receiver 13, I believe. My wide receiver 13, nothing against him. Last year was like my wide receiver 5 or 6. It's just other guys have now arrived. DK has now arrived, right? Michael Thomas is still going to be up there. You see Stephon Diggs now arriving from last year. Calvin Ridley, obviously now massive target shares. Justin Jefferson arrives last year. And A.J. Brown, right? He's right in that same range as some of those fellas. You can see guys going off the board now, Jalen Hurts, but he's my wide receiver 13 right now in PPR formats. In my top 200, Allen Robinson for me is my 36th overall player currently. Trying to keep up with the guys going off the board. So my top 2 tiers and quarterbacks are now gone. There's really not much reason for me to take a quarterback. We got Dak Other options to be pairing Dak up with would be a Michael Gallup, which he's probably coming around. He goes at the 86th overall pick, which the 86th overall pick divided by 12 is the second pick of the 7th round. So Michael Gallup is right around his ADP right now. We can really complete a Cowboys stack. I hope there's not people watching this. We're 2 picks away that can ruin our Cowboys stack dreams. Like Salt Shaker's already got Amari. He can kind of skinny stack it if he wanted to, if you will. Debo goes. Debo's fine. Debo's an interesting cat from the way that he produces points. Trey Sermon goes, and we are now 1 pick away from maybe completing this Cowboys pretty secure stack. Tyler Boyd goes. There we go. So we're going to take Michael Gallup at past his ADP. We're getting a value here on Michael Gallup. I don't even have to look what is left on the board because you're getting, we just now completed the CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Dak Prescott stack. I don't have to go, and we could still go later on and get a Blake Jarwin, but yes, I feel very good about the stack that we just ended up completing there. Michael Gallup was my second best available wide receiver behind, actually he might have been my best. Did Robbie Anderson? Yeah, so he was my best available wide receiver. So either way, everything there checks out. We like that a lot. So good start there. Devonta Smith went pretty early. That's interesting. Dallas Goddard goes. Maybe that's a finishing of a stack. I'm fine on Dallas Goddard. He's my top tight end. He's my number 7 tight end, top tight end in tier 3. Just not all that enamored personally. So we see some people in the chat. How y'all doing? I'm going to get to y'all questions momentarily. I'm just updating who has been taken and who has not been. So there we go. So we're feeling good about our roster right now. We've got a Cowboy stack with Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Gallup. We've got strong running back play, in my opinion, with Mike Davis, Cam Akers, and Nick Chubb. And that's where we stand right now. We also secured a Kenny Golladay. So 3 receivers, 3 running backs, and a QB. I'm just not going to take tight ends till late. We're on the board again, though. And now this starts to come down to best availables for me. Best available at running back is not all that great. As my 4th running back, getting a Carter, Damian Harris, or Zach Moss isn't terrible, though. As my 4th running back, we can secure wide receivers in Juju Smith-Schuster, in Curtis Samuel, and Jarvis Landry. If you're curious about tight end, Logan Thomas, Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant, Robert Tonyan, Adam Trautman, like those are the best available for me. They just kind of all seem like the same fucking guy, so not going to take them here. So Curtis Samuel goes there. My best available receiver is Juju Smith-Schuster. Antonio Brown is kind of close to being up there for me. We can go running back here and close out running back with the Damian Harris, although there's still so many good running backs or decent running backs left. I'm just going to go wide receiver here. Best available is Juju. Jarvis is out there still. So is Antonio Brown, who I'm kind of in on Antonio Brown, but he might be there at the next pick. So we go Juju there. He's my wide receiver 35. It's not a sexy pick, but we go there just for the quote-unquote value. Alrighty. We got some people up in the chat right now. I'm glad to hear you are doing well. It's uber important. Can you recommend me any podcasts, books, websites where I can improve my mental health and improve overall as a person? So improve overall as a person. Yeah. Right now I'm reading The 4 Agreements. It's a quality book. I've read all of Ryan Holiday's books. They're fantastic. That's probably my favorite, like stoic spirituality, just kind of like it gives you more perspective type of book. My favorite book I've ever read is Tuesdays with Maury. Podcast-wise, I don't really listen to like podcasts. Like most of the podcasts I listen to, I share values with. So like they touch on that type of stuff, like whether it's Joe Rogan to some extent or the Mike Stud podcast, You Never Know. That's probably the most that goes into it, like as a main focus point of the podcast. But for the most part, for me, it's books. It's books or just actually like deep plugging. Laviska Shenault goes. A lot of people are liking him this year. He's my wide receiver 50. I don't expect to get much Laviska Shenault. I'd rather have Hollywood Brown, who got taken right before him. A lot of people liking Damian Harris. He was probably one of the best availables left on the board right there for me at running back. He was somebody I would have considered taking if I didn't have another running back. But I get it. Damian Harris, especially if you're building a 0 RB lineup like I believe EBEM Hall of Fame is, right? He is. Yeah, that was his first running back taken right there in the 8th round. He's completely fine for 0 RB builds. It's just like I think a lot of people are over-expecting his role. Like they draft Ramondre Stevenson. They've never been a team to use just one running back. Right, he's never had a pass-catching role all that much, especially in college at Bama. And they re-signed James White, which I know he's not going to run the ball, but another reason why you kind of halt your pass-catching upside. And people are just thinking they're going to cut Sony Michel. Now, maybe that's the case. I don't think Sony Michel has that much juice left. I think his knees are kind of shot. But Sony Michel, when he was healthy last year, was effective and efficient. I think people like just wherever they've drafted Michel in the past or playing DFS, he rarely gets you there because he's so touchdown dependent. But Sony Michel is... I'm not going to say he's good, but he was quality last year. Like he was one of the more efficient running backs on a yards per carry basis, somewhat limited of a sample. But yeah, I think a lot of people want Damian Harris to be something that he potentially could be. Right now he's a 3rd-year player, former 2nd-round pick out of a big school in Bama. But I I don't doubt his abilities. It's more so the coaching staff, and they have everything they want. They have their Ramondre Stevenson red zone back. They have their James White satellite back. They still have Sony Michel on this roster, and as long as he's on the roster, I think he's going to get touches. So you start to squeeze all that out. Cam Akers to start, or Cam Newton, if he's healthy enough, to start the season off. Obviously rushing upside there, goal line snatches. Even Mac Jones was somewhat mobile, but nothing crazy. So that's my concern with all of that. Also, where can I find the podcast with you and your girlfriend? I'd love to give it a listen. Love the content, by the way. I really appreciate your Vetri Meter breakdown video. I just gave it a re-listen. Oh, thanks, man. I was actually just thinking about, nice pick there at the 9-1 Antonio Brown. I've been really starting lately to get higher on Antonio Brown. I might have to make an individual video on him, on how good he was last year and just got overshadowed by Mike Evans' touchdowns and Tom Brady himself and Leonard Fournette in the postseason, right? And Gronk's emergence in the postseason in the Super Bowl. But Antonio Brown went healthy last year. I mean, that last week of the season, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns as a 30-plus-year-old wide receiver. He was just beasting. He's somebody that I want to start to get more of. I'm gonna make a note right here, actually. Antonio Brown video. Let's do a little bit of a breakdown on why he's going to be a quality pick to be taking in the 8th and 9th rounds as of right now. The podcast with my girlfriend and I released them as video versions on this channel. We were supposed to release one tomorrow. We might actually re-record it after this and touch on different topics. Unfortunately, I ended up deleting it, but we're about 5 episodes in. If we release it tomorrow, that'll be 6. So I release it weekly. It's called Life Update. It has its own playlist, but we also have an official YouTube page for that called Life Update. And if you just look on YouTube or on like Apple or Spotify, Life Update's its own podcast. It's not attached to my Sal Vetri show, but I also do post it on this channel just so my viewers can see it, get a little bit of a reach out there for it organically. But a lot of people have been liking it, and we want to continue to do it. Zach Moss is a quality pick there. I mean, I don't see much of a difference between Zach Moss this year if you want to break his upside down. I mean, his offense doesn't run as much as what the Patriots are probably going to do, but his overall potential touches, not much of a difference between Zach Moss, Gus Edwards, and Damian Harris for me, honestly. Really, like Gus Edwards, I'll take him there. I'll take the 9-7 for Gus Edwards, especially if you're building 0 RB, is fantastic. And we are fucking picking very soon. So Tony Pollard's left available if you wanted to go there. Darnell Mooney he's available. If he makes it one more pick, I think Darnell Mooney's my pick here. Now we have Mike Williams go, so Darnell Mooney is available. He is going to be my favorite wide receiver left on the board, my favorite pick left on the board. I'm just still not taking tight ends. We're in the 9th round here, so maybe we have to start considering it more, but we've got to pick in 3 picks. So Darnell Mooney, we got 3 running backs. We got 5 receivers that I do like. Darnell Mooney, I'm all in on. I just made a video on him. Everything for Darnell Mooney looks fantastic, especially if Justin Fields, who I expect to start, and not Andy Dalton, who would be basically just Mitch Trubisky in terms of deep ball accuracy last year, and Nick Foles and overall true completion percentage. They all ranked right in a row, but that feels good. Now let's go to tight ends and see what's available there. I mean, just tight end is like the same fucking guy is still available. It's just Logan Thomas, Mike Gesicki, Robert Tonyan, Adam Trotman. And then you can keep going down. Blake Jarwin, Evan Ingram. Blake Jarwin finished out a nice, decent stack. Evan Ingram, right? Like, these are just the same fucking guy. Irv Smith, Eric Ebron, Jonnu Smith, Jared Cook. All those guys to me can finish as tight end 10, 11, or 12, and there's not much of a difference. So since there's literally 12 tight ends left that I feel comfortable with, I think we're just going to keep passing on tight ends. Quarterbacks, can we start to stack anything else up here? I mean, we can stack up a Justin Fields. He usually goes at pick 130. Justin Fields right now, pick 130 is the 10-8. We're at the 10-3. We can snag a Justin Fields to have the Justin Fields Darnell Mooney stack. Daniel Jones, I'm going to wait because we can get like a late Daniel Jones stack with Kenny Galladay, maybe add a Sterling Shepard, add a tight end. So I'm going to wait on quarterback. Let's just keep piling on wide receiver. I mean, running backs available. Tony Pollard is there. I get the appeal for Tony Pollard, but you're banking on an injury. He's also a part of this Dallas stack if we really wanted to go extra heavy on that. I'm not against David Johnson, who looks to be a starter. I'm not against Darrell Henderson, who there should be meat on the bone with Cam Akers, but I already took Akers, so it's kind of leveraging against yourself there. Corey Davis still available here. He's my best available. Nelson Aguilar. Let's go Corey Davis. A man who gets paid and brought into the Jets to be the wide receiver 1. We get him in the 10th round. He's my wide receiver 42. I take him right there with the 100th overall pick, somewhere around there, the 10-3. So let's see. Well, way more than 100. So I take him at the 110. He's ranked out for me right around that. So we take Corey Davis. We're piling on receivers now. I think we've got 6. We got to start. Next pick will be a tight end. We'll start to look at tight end at the next pick. Tony Pollard, A.J. Dillon still on the board is surprising. The 0 RB people are very much so in a good position if you're going to be getting one of those fellas. Joe Burrow is my best available quarterback on the board right now. Quarterback run going right here. Hey, Sal, how you liking the new city? If you ever get a chance, check out Fry Heights. It's just south of you. Best burger you will ever eat. Ooh, new city's awesome. Yeah. Really enjoy Austin, Texas. When my girlfriend's parents live here, so we visited a good amount. I probably visited 5 times, somewhere around there, before moving here. And yeah, really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. Not much complaints. I mean, it's fucking hot. It's already like 105 degrees, but that's what you expect when you move down here. But also Kyle. So Kyle touched on the breakdown video that's pinned up of last year. Yeah, I'm interested about those, like what people think of those. I want to continue to do them, but I also don't want to put, it's a weird thing because it's awkward for a lot of people to talk about money. I do it from a standpoint of like just because I like to kind of have those documented. And the reason I post it to YouTube is to help other people out, give them perspective, whatever it might be. But I can see how it can quickly be seen as like almost like bragging or braggadocious when I very much try not to be in those breakdown videos. And then the reason I pin it up to the top is so I'm taken seriously by not as much the audience. I think each individual content piece, I try and come across with good production, good knowledge, authentic to get taken seriously and get a new viewer buy-in, if you will. But more so like advertisers, potential agents, right? Things like that. So if they're looking at my channel, they're like, oh, this pin video up here. Okay. Oh, wow. He's bringing in a good amount for affiliates, or these people are investing in him. So that makes a lot of sense. He's able to make this a business, which means he probably knows what he's doing and there's some sustainability to it, which is the goal. Like right now I'm trying to learn, and that's a good pick, Adam Trotman there by M Baby. I'm basically trying to learn right now and wait and hold back, seeing what an agent saying. He said he's going to just like look at over all my stuff after doing a podcast with Rick Gaiman, which some of you probably know who that is. Sal the Truth 100 says Smooth Criminal Entertainment. What's going on? PMP Production says, what's up with Sports Bird? What do you mean? Dylan Bird? Yeah. I don't know. What do you mean what's up with him? I talked to Dylan, I want to say last week. Dylan got a job at House of Highlights. He's still going to be doing work, or at least he's open to doing work for us come NFL, doing some stuff with him and his brother behind the scenes, prepping the draft guide. So I think he's all good. He seems to be having a lot of fun. He got a nice job with House of Highlights, which is obviously fantastic. He's crushing it. And if I had to say he is crushing it, yes. A couple picks away, the 11-10 will be where we take our first tight end, and still good fucking tight ends on the board. Somehow, some way, there is fantastic tight ends on the board, in my opinion. Blake Jarwin's still there to complete this Ultra Cowboy stack, which, I mean, we might just have to pull the trigger on this Ultra Cowboy stack. Blake Jarwin is looking. Daryl Henderson, good pick. Really good pick there. He's just going to have so much. I mean, the 11-7, maybe it's a little bit early, but he's just going to have so many opportunities. What's the draft style called? I'm new to Underdog, says Los. Los, what's going on, boss man? The draft style is called Best Ball. You just pick 18 players, no kickers or defense, as many as you want at each position. And yeah, it's called Best Ball. We're going to take Blake Jarwin here, and then I'll finish that thought. So we get our first tight end in Blake Jarwin. It also completes a Cowboy stack. I don't think we're reaching on that. And then there's just a lot of decent tight ends left after that we don't have to do. He's my best tight end available, by the way, tight end 14. Yeah, but it's called Underdog. It is a very, very nice platform. 18 menu draft, and say you take 2 quarterbacks. If you take the best quarterback that week in scoring, you take 10 receivers. I think it takes the top 3 receivers or something along those lines. I'll have to look back, but it's a ton of fun. There's $1 million and $1 to first place. There goes Justin Fields. He was not my best available, a couple guys ahead of him, but it's still fine. Yeah. So that is the name of the format. If you have any specific questions about Best Ball itself, it's got the best mobile product. If you want to try it out, if you just deposit anything, you sign up using the code SAL. There's a link in the description. If you deposit anything, even if it's just $5, they'll give you $25 to play with. So pretty damn cool, which is the exact cost of these contests. We can make some private leagues, and all of us can be singing Kumbaya and drafting together in those private leagues. So running backs, I only have 3. It's probably coming to the point where I need to take one. Otherwise, these are all going to be absolutely ass running backs. Nelson Aguilar goes. He was my best available. So wide receiver, we're at a point where none of them look great. Jamal Williams goes. He was by far my best available at that position. So now running back, I mean, I was going to take Jamal Williams. I think I might just wait and get one of these like high-quality backups in a Phillip Lindsay, Devontae Booker, maybe even a Ty Johnson, right? Ambiguous backfields. Wide receivers now, they all kind of look pretty similar in this range. We might end up reaching a little bit here, but I'm going to we'll go Russell Gage. If I had 5 more seconds, I would not have clicked his name, but we did not have 5 more seconds. Russell Gage for me, I mean, I had like 3 or 4 wide receivers ahead of him. But we'll take Gage there. I think that ADP is going to rise as the season goes on. Who is the last possible running back you would be comfortable with as your RB1? I mean, I'm drafting running backs with my first and second pick pretty often. The last possible running back I'd be comfortable with as my RB1. I mean, if you're going like 0 RB, you're skipping out on the first probably 3 or 4 rounds. So as my RB1, if you're going 0 RB, I mean, some guys are taking Damian Harris as their number 1 running back, right? And you're just hoping that things break your way in those rounds. For me personally, as like an actual RB1 who I think has massive upside, I think the last guy I would feel comfortable taking is probably like an Antonio Gibson, Chris Carson, somewhere in that RB15 range for me. That's just me personally. The way that I want to start up some of these drafts. Devin Singletary goes, meh. Not really much there to break down on him. Tua goes. Tua's a decent pick. He's my quarterback 22. Can't believe Matt Ryan went as high as he went. Like, I still don't even... This is where I would start to consider taking Matt Ryan, and he went in, like, the fucking 5th round to finish off a stack. Like, that is a definition of just absolutely reaching for the hell of reaching. Here comes the rookies. Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore, Rashad Bateman. The rookie fever is off the motherfucking board. John goes. Still some decent tight ends left, though. And Nyheim Hines goes. So we are going to be done with one more pick at running back for my build right now. Tariq Cohen goes. I think we're just going to go with like, I don't know, McKinnon, Rashad Higgins, Chuba as a backup, right? Devontae Booker as a backup in New York. I really enjoy them. I'm trying to mold my craft sort of like yours. I create daily content on Twitter, website writing, and other outlets. I'm trying to take the leap into live content. Yeah, so live content is nice because the workflow it cuts down, like from an editing standpoint. But overall, I don't think live content plays as well as still pre-recorded. It's good to have both, though, because you interact better with your audience. I enjoy doing the live content more, probably because it's easy. I just turn this stuff on. I interact, especially if it's Q&A based, like a lot of the NBA live streams. And then it's just nice, right? But the issue that becomes live content is it's not as polished. It's not as crisp. And yet live content usually is longer. So the way that YouTube is going right now and the way that I'm trying to mold a lot of my content for NFL and NBA to an extent is instead of having these like 30-minute videos, which people are used to from me, sometimes 40 minutes for the NFL big breakdowns, I'm really trying to stay in the 8 to like 15-minute range. 10 to 15 would be ideal because attention spans are dropping. YouTube is pushing those types of videos a little bit more, so it seems, over the last 6 months, just from looking into some research on it. And when you have a live content, it's hard to be polished. You can't edit over it, of course, anything else extra to make it more appealing. And then it starts to hit a longer form piece of content, which there is a place for that, but not on like every video. So these live streams, there's obviously, I'm not going to be doing a 10-minute live draft. There's not much value there. So the place for that is these live streams, which is a nice mix up. We get to interact, but I don't know if I'll ever be daily live with the current content structure I'm at. Ideally, if you're like a Pat McAfee or something, you can do every single one of your shows live because you have 6 team members who are able to put the graphics on live, who are able to produce those graphics to have on there, things like that, right? So we're a pick away now for me. Running backs, I can just wait and just take the best available backups, honestly, at this point, which is where we're starting to get. At wide receiver now, Amon-Ra St. Brown is my best available. That is where I will go and continue to pile on the wide receiver train. We need one more tight end, and we also need another quarterback, which Daniel Jones' season might be approaching, but we'll go Amon-Ra St. Brown to start. Potentially the best, the only like wide receiver that seems to have upside right now in Detroit. Who's still out there? Like Rashad Perriman might be out there. I don't know if they have Tyrell Williams still. But second tight end, second quarterback here in the 13th is where we start to look. We got Dak early. Danny Jones is still on the board, and we can easily just double stack him with Kenny Golladay and a late receiver from the Giants, which there's endless amounts of them. Not Darius Slayton as much because he's kind of the backup to Kenny Golladay now, but Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney. So where does Daniel Jones usually go? Daniel Jones usually goes at the 162, which is the 13.5, which we're now past Daniel Jones ADP. So taking Daniel Jones at the next pick is not a bad idea, especially since I'm already loaded on wide receiver and running back I can kind of wait on. Like we already have 8 wide receivers here. So taking Daniel Jones as my quarterback 2 at the next pick. Ryan Fitzpatrick is still fucking available. Damn. I don't really know if there's anybody to pair up Ryan Fitzpatrick with this late. There's not going to be. Washington football team, the receivers, the top ones are gone. Logan Thomas is gone. Man, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a high-ranked quarterback for me right now. Like he's my quarterback 16. Jameis is Jameis still available? Is he gone? Jameis has got to be gone, right? Jameis is still available? Dear God, do I want to take Daniel Jones if all these guys are available? From a stacking standpoint, I do. From a terrible offensive line standpoint, I don't. Holy shit. Yeah, that's crazy that these guys are still available. We'll go Danny Dimes here. Danny Dimes, I hate that I just said that. So we go Daniel Jones there. He was my third best available quarterback behind Winston and Fitz, but we got the Kenny Golladay upside stack. We're not reaching because we're at his already ADP. So I'm fine with that. We're picking 17 more picks. We're solid on, so we're currently solid. We can show you the roster. It's really right to my right. We're solid on quarterback. We need one more tight end and one more running back and then a couple more receivers. Let's get rid of me for a second here so you can see. This is what the roster looks like. set there. We take 3 running backs with our first 4 picks, so now we don't got to take another one for a hell of a lot of time. I'll take a high upside backup who would fall into high usage, maybe even some independent usage like a Devontae Booker if he stays. Wide receivers, we complete a stack right here with Dallas. We get Kenny Golladay for his Daniel Jones, and then we just take the best availables. Juju, Darnell, Corey Davis, wide receiver 1 profiling out there. Russell Gage, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Potentially wide receiver 1 season out there. Did the bye week screw me? No, my quarterbacks don't have the same bye weeks, neither do my running backs. And then we get Blake Jarwin, who was my best available tight end, and he just continues to complete the stack of Dallas. So that feels pretty good. So yeah, 1 running back, whatever the fuck's available at that point, 1 tight end, and 2 receivers is all we need now. And receivers so deep. So I'm not really too concerned about things not being there in the wide receiver range at this point. Like I'm looking at wide receivers right now that all look completely fine to me. Whether it's rookies like Amari Rodgers and Dwayne Eskridge, whether it's veterans that either way should be in a pretty good situation, in my opinion, like a Jamison Crowder, whether he stays with the Jets, good situation there. Makes a lot of sense. I know Elijah Moore's there, but makes a lot. And there goes Crowder, Danny H, right on time. Or if he goes to another spot, like, maybe Detroit that could use a receiver. He slides in as the wide receiver 1 there pretty quickly. A run on quarterback goes after I took my spot there. As you can see right over here, you get a run on quarterback of Wentz, Fitzpatrick, and Sam Darnold. Jameis Winston's still on the board. He's my quarterback 14. I'm projecting him to see most of the usage there. So this is like a late round quarterback that's going to be fantastic. I'm going to add that to my list as we go through this. Jameis Winston, late round QB. Winner. That's a video topic that I'll definitely have to touch on, because the fact that I'm currently here at the beginning of the 15th round and Jameis Winston went at the 15-1, the fact that it took that long is pretty eye-opening, I would say. So I think we're going to look at tight end the next time around. Scotty Miller I do like, especially if you're completing Tampa Bay stacks. We did that last week once. He's really not somebody who's going to grade out well, outside the top 80, 90 wide receivers, but once you get down there, it's just kind of what correlates for you. So tight ends that are available. Cole Kmet, who really came on towards the end of last year in a pretty major way. Started to take all of Jimmy Graham's usage. Eric Ebron is still available. He's my tight end 17. Austin Hooper, my tight end 21. Those are my best available. Gerald Everett's on here as well. I think that this is probably the spot to take an Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron right now, his ADP is right around the 15.8. My next pick will be close to that. I'm at the 15.10. We can secure tight end unless there's I have to get this type of wide receiver left on the board. Philip Lindsay goes. That's a quality pick where he just went. Giovanni Bernard's not going often in these drafts, but he's somebody that, he's in Tampa Bay. They're saying he looks good early on. They're posting pictures of his quads. He's somebody that I'll look at as some of these high upside backups. If anything happens to Fournette, who has not been the most healthy in his career, there's a chance that Giovanni Bernard can start to pop off. So Gio Bernard might be the best available running back left, and he goes a pick before me. Oh, man. Talk about the most random, obscure player getting sniped. Giovanni Bernard, I just get sniped on him. So, Chuba Hubbard, James White has a role either way on that team. Should we finish up? I think Eric Ebron will still be around. Let's finish up running back. James White feels gross. He feels gross. So let's go Eric Ebron here just to secure the tight end. So we go tight end, Ebron. That's what we were thinking. Gives us more time to actually secure a running back that we want. Look through some of these receivers as we pick in 4 more picks. Running backs like Rashad Penny is there, sure. I'm not really too high on that. James White, who we didn't want to really take right there, is still there. I just don't want to take James White. It just feels like a gross pick. You know what to expect, and it's not good as he gets older. And, Cam Newton might not check down as much. He has 17.8% target share as a running back, but that's all he had last year. Those receptions obviously do matter, though, but hard to see spike weeks out of him. We can keep considering James White, though. Sterling Shepard would complete another big stack if we wanted to go there. I like Shepard. He'll move into the slot more this year. Ty Johnson's an interesting cat. You might be able to get Ty Johnson with the last pick in drafts. Sterling Shepard versus Kadarius Toney's an interesting question. Amari Rodgers goes. I think I'm going to go Sterling Shepard versus Kadarius. I have Sterling Shepard higher right now, significantly. So Deshaun Jackson's out there in the best ball streets. Sterling Shepard has just went. Goddamn. So Sterling Shepard is gone. Emmanuel Sanders is gone. So Kadarius Toney we could probably wait on. Are you projecting the Texans without Watson? All right, we're on the board, so I'll answer that question right after. They're still putting James White out there, which is just trying to tempt me at this point. We'll go. Kadarius Toney's the best available wide receiver on this board. He's not my best available yet, but he's not that far off. We'll go Kadarius Toney at the end of the beginning of the 16th. That finishes up a Giants stack. So we have a double stack with Daniel Jones, and we have a triple stack with Dak Prescott. So we are living in the NFC East, where I expect a lot of points. We need a running back to close this thing out, and we need a receiver, and we're done. So are you projecting with Watson in? I'm projecting Watson to take 0 snaps as of right now. And if so, is there anyone on that team you're interested in? Is David Johnson as a mid-round running back? David Johnson, if he was my 4th running back taken in, like, where's his ADP right now? So David Johnson is going at the 10th round, like the midway through the 10th round. Yeah, if I wanted to take my 4th running back, or if you're going 0 RB, he makes some sense. I'm not really too locked in on David Johnson. Like, Philip Lindsay's out there. I expect him to be pretty involved, right? So I don't think David Johnson is anywhere near a lock. I'd rather have Philip Lindsay, like somebody just got him in the 15th round by far. You have Mark Ingram out there, who I don't expect to do much. They just signed Rex Burkhead. So, yeah, David Johnson will compete with Philip Lindsay. Mark Ingram, I don't expect to be much involved. That's probably more of a locker room presence for a team that desperately needs some locker room guys and some culture change. So let's key in on wide receiver and running back. Somehow James White is still there, and they're just going to keep tempting me with the James White. Jerick McKinnon went. Chuba Hubbard and Davonte Johnson are still there. So we'll see. We'll probably take our last pick, being the running back. A lot of really decent to quality. There finally goes James White. Thank you. So I don't got to take him. I'll probably go to a high-quality backup now. I mean, Tevin Coleman I don't like either, but Tevin Coleman is free in drafts. That's currently the RB1 on his depth chart, right? That's an interesting cat to look at. But Darrington Evans, Ty Johnson, these types of guys. There goes Tevin Coleman right at the whistle. There you go. Wide receivers, though. So where do we want to go with wide receiver? Because there's a lot of rookies left, right? You got your Dwayne Eskridges, your Diami Browns, who Josh Reynolds used to be a quality pick for me, no longer is. MVS usually is down in this range. You can see MVS right here, which if the Packers are still around, MVS will have 3 to 4 big spike weeks a season. You saw that last year, right? He had 6 touchdowns, 690 yards last year, 120 total points last year. Down in this range ain't bad if the Packers are still around, meaning if Aaron Rodgers is still around. Otherwise, MVS is not going to offer you much. But the draft pick of Amari Rodgers hurts Alan Lazard, who was in the slot a lot. There's nobody out there who competes on that team as an outside burner with MVS. So he's going to be there pretty often. Ty Johnson goes. So there's somebody we're looking at. So Chuba Hubbard and Devontae Booker are my best available. Chuba Hubbard and did Devontae Booker go too? Because that would be devastating for my... Yeah, no, he's still available. So Chuba Hubbard, Devontae Booker. Hopefully people watching the live stream aren't going to snag me on these running backs. They are backups to high-quality running backs coming off of injuries. Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. So those are running backs that look appealing. Other than that, though, like Damian Williams maybe gets his role as a running back too on that Chicago team. Darrell Williams maybe gets his role with Jerick McKinnon battling. There's not other running backs that look good. And there goes MVS. So you can see receivers are starting to go off the board now. I believe Deshaun Jackson went. Otherwise, he would be somebody that I would look at. Just some sort of these upside wide receivers down here at this point. Dwayne Eskridge is my favorite player left, and I believe it's by far Dwayne Eskridge at wide receiver. Second round pick. They only had 3 draft picks, so they might have reached a little bit. But second round pick to Seattle, Dwayne Eskridge. Definitely wide receivers ahead of him. But at this point, there's not many guys down here that you're looking like, okay, that's definitely going to be a guy who breaks free. Like if you wanted to take a flyer on Byron Pringle in an offense that is down some wide receivers now with no Sammy Watkins out there, right? No Cole Hardman struggling. DeMarcus Robinson never really been one to break away outside of just being a quality blocker and staying on the field because he knows his role. Can Byron Pringle take a step forward? I don't know. But other than that, not really breakout options down here. Sammy Watkins on a team that just drafted 2 wide receivers on a team that already has a burner. He would be a big slot, but I think they're going to put Bateman there, so I don't know how often Sammy Watkins is involved. So, yeah, we're at the point where if it goes 2 more picks to me, I will take a Dwayne Eskridge and feel happy about that. If not, we're going to have to scramble a little bit and improvise with like a Byron Pringle or something. We're 1 pick away, though. Wow. Cornell Powell, the rookie taken somewhat late by the Chiefs, definitely late in the draft, goes before Byron Pringle. They're putting no respect on Byron Pringle's name these days. 1 pick away. Let's just get ourselves Dwayne Eskridge. This fella's probably going to take a receiver. He's got 6 running backs and 7 receivers. Interesting build. Can you explain how this best ball tournament works? Like, how do you win $1 million? By the way, thanks for always answering my questions, my man. Yeah, no problem. So let me just draft Dwayne Eskridge here. We're done with receivers, and we'll take one of these 2 backup running backs in 4 picks. Hopefully they both don't go, and Davonte and Chuba. In that order for me, I'll take Davonte over Chuba. I think Davonte has more of a path to playing time alongside Saquon than Chuba does with McCaffrey. Easier depth chart for Davonte, too. They took a running back like Gary Brightwell out of Arizona. Never really did anything there. So, yeah, best ball, there's playoffs. So it's just like a normal league, except you draft 18 guys. You never have to start anybody. It takes your best players per position, a certain amount per position, right? So you're each in a 12-man league. The top 2 from each 12-man league move on to the playoffs. And then you play the first round. And then it wipes out a bunch of people. And then you play the second round of playoffs, wipes out a bunch of people. The third round of playoffs wipes out a bunch of people. The championship, you then hope to win. You have to continue to advance out of these 12-man pods. Man, oh man, Chuba Hubbard goes and Anthony Miller. Thank you that Devontae Booker lasted to us. The last pick of the draft for me, Devontae Booker is my running back 4. So we took 3 running backs at our first 4 picks. Did not take another running back until the last pick of the draft. That's the way I like to build. Now, we could have taken a running back a couple rounds earlier, depending on who was there. I was going to take Jamal Williams as my 4th running back in like round 12 or something. It didn't work out. But the roster right now as it stands, and I see the super chat, so I'm going to thank you momentarily. Dak Prescott, we got him early, and Daniel Jones. Same division. A lot of weak defenses in that division outside of Washington, which is just due to regress based on how good they were last year. Front 7 still looks great, though. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones. Running backs, 1st overall pick, Cam Akers. 2nd overall pick, Nick Chubb. My 4th, well, not overall, but my 1st pick and 2nd pick, those 2. My 3rd pick, Mike Davis, and Devontae Booker right there at the 18th pick. My 4th pick at that position. None of those running backs bye weeks interact with each other, neither do the quarterbacks. Now we go wide receivers. My wide receivers, a lot of their bye weeks are in kind of hit each other off, but that's fine. CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, obviously same bye week, same team. Kenny Galladay, Juju, Darnell Mooney, who I'm high on. Corey Davis, we don't really like Corey Davis, but at that point he's fine. They paid him money to come in there. He had his best efficiency, number 5 in yards per route run last year. New quarterback, maybe there's something there, but we'll take that as our what? Corey Davis is our 6th wide receiver. Then we go Russell Gage, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We finish it off with the rookies. Russell Gage is not a rookie, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kadarius Toney, and Dwayne Eskridge. Toney, more of a stacking pick there. Maybe finds himself into a touchdown week, right? Gimmicky type plays, Deebo Samuel type role potentially there. Dwayne Eskridge and Amon-Ra St. Brown walked right into a role where he might be the Terry McLaurin of 2 years ago when McLaurin was just the default wide receiver 1 on Washington as a rookie because there was nobody else out there. It was Terry McLaurin, and they took another rookie that year. Maybe that was the year they took Cam Sims. That was it. Oh, no, Cam Sims is undrafted, so I'm trying to think, who did they take alongside? It might have been Cam Sims. Steve Sims, Cam Sims, one of them. And then Dwayne Eskridge. There's no other wide receivers there outside of the big 2, which are really big, but David Moore is now gone. Dwayne Eskridge, draft capital bumps him up. And then Blake Jarwin, another part of his stack. Eric Ebron, something I just fucked up on and just realized. Blake Jarwin and Eric Ebron have the same fucking bye week in week 7. So I fucked up on that. We literally, as we're closing out the stream, just realized how bad we fucked up there. The tight ends with the same bye week is never ideal. We're taking a 0 for our tight ends 1 week, which is not how you win best ball. So fuck. That $25. That was a good draft up until I just realized both my tight ends had the same bye week. And I wasn't even going to take Ebron at that point, but the time was running out and I didn't want to just get auto-picked. Sal, I've been watching a while. Great seeing your channel grow. Glad football is coming up. By the way, love your chat with Rick Rungood last week. Get yourself an agent, says No Good Comics. $5 super chat. We'll put that towards the agent. But yeah, I actually want to look into getting an agent. I talked with somebody at WME and we're just waiting. We're waiting on him to review my stuff. I guess see if I'm worthy enough for an agent. And the reason why I want an agent is they'll take, I don't know the percentages. Hopefully it's not like 50%. Hopefully it's reasonable, right? 10, 15, something like that. 20, I don't know. But whatever the percentage is, the goal would be to get more on-camera work. I have my own channel. I'm getting my own on-camera work, but that's a limitation to the eyeballs on YouTube here in this specific niche. But get on, maybe not an ESPN, but get towards that. Bigger podcasts. Come in because I know a lot about betting. I know a lot about props in DFS and the lines, and not a lot of people know that, and that's an industry that is right now a hot commodity, of course, and those talents are not in-house. So saying, hey, we'll pay $500 if you can do this 10-minute spot fill, right, or whatever amount of money for this 10-minute spot fill. Yes, it's good from a revenue standpoint, which is not really what I'm thinking as much as just getting in front of bigger audiences and new audiences. The fact that now we have, I would say, more professional layout here with not only the way that I now know how to talk on camera and kind of articulate my thoughts to a camera and a bunch of lights, but also just the backdrop and that type of setting. My favorite tight end 3 in best ball and redraft is Gerald Everett. Tight end 3, interesting. Yeah, Gerald Everett's fine. He's like my tight end 22 overall in my rankings. Yeah. In Loesch, hopefully I answered your question. That helped you. Kyle says, I'm just a bit scared to take the jump into podcasting and YouTube. I'm not sure why, but I just can't seem to do it. You've helped me take some leaps and bounds for sure so far. Yeah, man. Look, podcasting and YouTube is not for everybody. Just because you enjoy watching others doesn't mean you have to do it. Now, if you do think this is something you really, and there's like a little burning passion, desire to try it. Because when you're 90 years old on your deathbed, and who gives a shit, right? You're going to die, so why not just try shit? And if it's not for you, it's not for you. I tried blogging. I was blogging while I was doing podcasting and YouTube, and I said, fuck this. This is boring to me. I don't like this. I hate writing. It doesn't mean that that's the overall that blogging sucks. No, that's just my personal opinion on how I felt about it. It just wasn't for me. I can get way more out there more efficiently and connect more with an audience, in my opinion, and I felt more comfortable on camera and things like that. Can you fully stack from 2 teams on the same best ball team, like QB, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end, but do it twice? No, I'm not too sure what you're saying there. Can you fully stack two teams on same best ball team? Oh, yeah. I mean, and the tight end, but do it twice? Yeah, I'm not totally against it. Yeah. You're obviously really banking on those two. I'm not trying to do it. In that last one, we almost did it, right? We had a QB with two wide receivers in this draft we just did. We had a QB with two wide receivers and a tight end, so we fully stacked Dallas. But I don't think you have to fully stack that much. I think it's kind of overblown. It is obviously beneficial to have some correlation in there, but you shouldn't be going into a draft to fully stack. Like, I didn't even try and fully stack. I wanted the Cowboys stack when we were in it, but Blake Jarwin was just my best available tight end, and I needed a tight end, and it just happened that he was on the Cowboys, right? So I didn't try and fully stack that team. I think it's a little bit overblown how much you have to stack. Every team's going to stack. I think last year was like 10 out of 12 or 11 out of 12 teams were stacking in each best ball pod. So you have to stack. We know that, and that's proven based on the data. But for every team to want to fully stack both of their squads, it gets you a little bit more unique. But I think there's a point where it becomes overkill. If I have two quarterbacks, I'm looking to stack them if they're not mobile quarterbacks. If I have Lamar Jackson in another team, I don't really feel the need to fully stack Lamar Jackson. If you want to go with Mark Andrews, Hollywood, Rashad Bateman, or Tylan Wallace late, that's fine. But I don't feel the need. It's really team-oriented or team-specific, and that quarterback, is he mobile? Because if he's mobile, he's taking away from a stack automatically, so you don't have to fully stack it as much. Have you tried contacting the Hammer Down show? They have a lot of different people on the show. I'm not too sure what that is, but if you reach out to me on Twitter, I can look into it because I'll forget the second I'm done with this because I got to go drive to a spot where I'm doing a half marathon tomorrow. Who do you think is a better wide receiver to take from the Jets, Elijah Moore or Mims? Mims and Elijah both pop on film to me, but Mims seems more fit to be the alpha with Elijah being the Tyler Lockett role. I would say based on their value right now, Elijah Moore, just because you can get him later. I don't have anything wrong with Mims. I wanted the Packers to get him last year as a Packers fan. Late second-round pick, bad quarterback play. When he was out there, he was getting separation. He looked pretty good. He did look like an alpha. They signed Corey Davis to be on the outside, but then there's no other competition. It's kind of Mims' opportunity. So I think Mims is fine, but the fact that you can get Elijah Moore later, that's good. The fact that there's uncertainty around Elijah Moore's role right now gives him value, right? With Crowder, they're trying to work out an extension, quote-unquote workout. Maybe that means there's no chance of working it out. Maybe it's more of a demands. We don't know. We don't have that knowledge. But if Crowder stays, then obviously it's Mims. But right now, since there's some uncertainty, Elijah Moore is going to jump 1 to 2 rounds if Jamison Crowder leaves this team. Like if it's announced right now Crowder's leaving, by today's date where his ADP is, from 2 months from now in August when he starts playing in preseason games, he's only going to continue to rise. And Mims might rise a little bit if he does nice in preseason and stuff like that, but he's kind of already baked in to where his ADP probably will be. So there's a lot more of a jump, which means that if you're getting Elijah Moore right now in the 14th, 15th round, but everything breaks his way, he stays healthy, he shows out in the preseason, Jamison Crowder leaves, he starts to become the 10th round pick, you're drafting him right now as a 14th round pick. Those teams are looking really fucking good compared to the teams getting him as a 10th round. Whereas Mims, no matter what, is probably going to stay as like a 12th round pick for the most part. Alrighty, gang, I got to bounce. That was a nice hour, nice draft. Peace out, everybody. Probably no content tomorrow. No NBA content for today's already out, the 1-game slate. 2-game slate tomorrow. I'm not going to be covering it because I'm going to be traveling and running a half marathon, but we'll be back on Monday with more content from the NFL and the NBA. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Like, subscribe before you go. And if you want to play on Underdog, where we just drafted, there's a link in the description below. I encourage you to check it out. And if you use the code SAL when you sign up and that link, any money you put in on your first deposit, they'll give you an extra $25 as a limited time offer. So if you think you're going to play Underdog in like a month, you might as well sign up now because that limited time offer, I personally don't know when it's going away. Each week we get a weekly newsletter from them and it just says these are the offers, and the offer's still there the last couple of weeks. I don't know when that's going to go away, so might as well take advantage of it. You'll get $25. Peace out, gang. If you want the 2021 draft guide, that is also linked down below, releasing next week. Ranks, tiers, top 200, all that stuff. Y'all rock. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good questions today. Appreciate all of you. Peace.